Welcome to my NHL breakdown for Wednesday, March 10th. Thank you for watching us here on odds.com. I am extremely frustrated. The last two nights, Monday and Tuesday night, I'm down 3 units, but it feels like I'm down 10. On Monday, I had the Coyotes, Canucks, Kings all on the -1. I went for big scores on the Coyotes and Canucks. Coyotes -1 plus 343 was a push. Canucks -1 plus 259 was a push. Kings -1 lost. It was irritating. And I understand that I've lost close to 10 units on road or on underdogs on the -1 line and not just taking the plus line that you get for winning the game. And this is the most I've ever been down. I follow that very closely. This is the most I've ever been down on that certain bet. And if it continues, I will switch it up. But this is a short season, and I'm not going to switch it up this year. And this style of betting is what got me to the dance. So those of you who've run with me, first year where I made every bet public, 2017, 2018, I got up 43 units in front of you. The second year, I got up 30 units in front of you. So I'm going to stay and stick to the plan. And if I make adjustments, it will come next season on that underdog on the -1 line. On Tuesday night, I went 1-3, down 2 units. I cashed on the over 5.5 in Flyers Sabres, and then I lost all my puck lines, and all 3 teams won the game. Now that will happen, and that's happened in worse situations to me in years past. But the Capitals were up 4-1 in the third period and fell apart. So I'm angry. I wasn't supposed to shoot NHL tonight, but I have to, because I tell you what, I'm not going out like this. This is the one sport where I can look you in the eyes and tell you that I'm not going out like this, that I will beat NHL like I do every year. I'm sitting 53-68 at 43.8%. I'm down 8.47 units. My ROI is down 7%. My average line is plus 128. And while I can only promise you honesty and transparency, and I'm just telling you, I'm not going out like this. And that's why I'm here right now at 12:55 a.m. Wednesday morning, because I'm going to beat NHL. All right. Sorry about that sad fucking monologue. Let's get to work. I'm attacking 3 games on this Wednesday, March 10th card. We start at 8 p.m. Eastern. Ottawa Senators, 9-18-1, 4-12-0 on the road at the Edmonton Oilers, 16-11-0, 8-8-0 at home. I'm on the Edmonton Oilers -1.5 at plus 110, and I'm on the under 6.5 at -110. 6.5s are a little different, but when you're dealing with 6s, and especially 5.5s, there's an idea that the favorite on the puck line and the under doesn't correlate. And I've always felt comfortable betting it. Now, 6.5 is a little different. You have a little more breathing room. We're at Rogers Place in Edmonton, Alberta. I expect Matt Murray to be in between the pipes for the Senators, 7-11-1, 3.66 goals against average, 885 save percentage, 0 shutouts. He's had a bad season, but he had a nice game in Calgary, 2 games back. Maybe he can carry a little momentum. Mike Smith, 7-2-0, 2.29 goals against average, 925 save percentage, 2 shutouts. Koskinen was in net in this game that just was played between the Senators and Oilers, and I expect them to go right back to Mike Smith. Sens power play, 14.4%. Their penalty killing, 74.7%. Oilers power play, 25.6%. Their penalty killing, 76.5%. And you look at a 25.6% power play and think, well, that's a good power play. But you could just imagine what kind of numbers a power play with McDavid and Draisaitl would put up if you had some strong power play defensemen, some specialists. Barry's not bad on the power play. That's about the only thing he does well. Okay, let's get to work here. Edmonton opens up at minus 250. That's gone down to minus 235. Ottawa opened up at plus 210. They're down at plus 195. But let's make sure that I'm using a legal licensed American book for my opening line. The puck line, which I'm on. I have not seen movement in my book, but let's see if there was any. And yes, slight. It opened minus 1.5 at plus 105. It's now minus 1.5 at plus 110. The total opened up at under 6.5 at minus 115. There's been a 5-cent move towards the over. It's now minus 110. Okay, let's get to work. I don't like the Edmonton Oilers as a hockey team. I don't like the team that Chiarelli passed on to Ken Holland. I think they've made grievous errors all over the place. And I would love to take the Senators. Love to take Senators first period. I would love to fade Edmonton. And those of you who watch me know that I rarely support Edmonton. But this will be the Senators' 5th game of a 6-game road trip and their 3rd game in 4 nights. They've been in Alberta since Wednesday, March 3rd, so travel is not an issue. But they may have trouble finding their legs in the latter stages of this one. They are 1-3 on this trip. They're coming off a 3-2 loss against these Oilers on Monday. The Senators have to play a very clean road game against an Oilers team with one extremely dangerous line and little else. You have to be very cautious when Draisaitl, McDavid, and Yamamoto are on the ice. And then you try to win the game when they are on the bench. You can't allow odd man rushes to that line. You'll get burnt. You need to win the face-off battle against the Oilers. But more importantly, you need to win the face-off battle against Connor McDavid. And the problem, Connor McDavid is an okay face-off guy. But Leon Draisaitl is really good. And Connor McDavid plays center on the line, but if you knock McDavid out of the faceoff circle, Draisaitl comes in. The only Senator winning draws right now is their third-line center, Josh Norris. And I like Josh Norris. But he plays on the line with Stutzel and Batherson, so you don't want them out there against McDavid. Josh Norris, a Sharks first-round draft pick out of the University of Michigan, and I think he can be a good center in this league. Maybe not a top 6 forward, but I think he can be a quality center in this league. The Brady Tkachuk, Chris Tierney, Connor Brown line is who you want out against McDavid. But Tierney's bad in the faceoff circle. So it's tricky. Going up against Connor McDavid is tricky. But I trust that DJ Smith will put together a clean and conservative game plan for when McDavid and Draisaitl are on the ice. Get it deep and cycle. Get it deep and cycle against McDavid and Draisaitl. And then when the other lines are on, attack, attack, attack. The Oilers average 3.19 goals a game, but they've scored just 7 over their last 5 games. Now, that stat is a little misleading because they've scored 6 goals over their last 2 games. And McDavid and Draisaitl were in sort of surprising streaks here. McDavid went a shocking 3 straight games without a point, but has bounced back with 5 points in his last 2 games. And Leon Draisaitl snapped an 8-game goal drought when he scored against Ottawa on Monday. So 2 things are going on here. One, I believe that they've snapped out of it. But I also think that there is a problem with this hockey team. And that is that they are simple to defend, not easy to defend. But you can put together a simple game plan when there's only 2 players that you need to worry about. And who do I blame for that? Chiarelli and Holland, mainly Chiarelli. What terrible decisions he's made, and Holland's had to clean up his mess, and he's done a poor job of it. I think Darnell Nurse is a quality defender, but I think Tyson Barrie is extremely overrated. He's not good enough to log the ice time he's getting. Joe Sakic had the best young defensive core in the National Hockey League, and he did whatever he could to make sure that Tyson Barrie got out of that dressing room. Very, very noticeable. And then, look, he last 1 year in Toronto. They don't want him either. Then you have Chris Russell and Adam Larson on the second unit. They're rated as the second worst second unit in the entire NHL. There's a reason why a weak Chicago Blackhawks squad knocked the Oilers out of the playoffs last year. So I've said some negative things about this Oil squad, but this is my favorite time to back a team. It's their second last game of a homestand. I love it. I love it in NBA. I love it in NHL. Now, it has to be an extended homestand. It has to be 5 games at a minimum for this to work for me. And the Senators are playing their 3rd game in 4 nights. So I will begrudgingly take the Edmonton Oilers -1.5 at +110, as well as the under 6.5 at -110. That gets my card started. We move on to 9:30 p.m. Eastern. LA Kings at the Anaheim Ducks. The Kings are 10-8-6, 6-5-2 away. The Ducks are 8-12-6, 4-7-3 at home. We're at Honda Center in Anaheim, California. I am on the Los Angeles Kings -1 at +131. This total at 5.5 is +110 to the over. Some books have it more than that. Some books are slightly less. And I should have taken the over in the first game of the series. It bothered me enormously that I didn't. And I'm not going to do it here. I really find with totals, you don't go back to the well. On sides, you can go back to the well. It's dangerous, but you can. But in totals, you don't. I am on the Kings at +131 -1. That's a -125 money line and a +195 puck line. That +195 puck line is still available. And the money line opened up at -125. It's still at -125. There's been no movement. The Kings power play, 26.4%. Their penalty killing, 82.2%. That's very good. That's very good for a team that has 10 wins, 8 losses, and 6 overtime or shootout losses. So really 14 losses in their 24 games. To have special teams that strong and have that poor of a record is not easy. The Ducks power play, 13.3%. Their penalty killing, 79.5%. Calvin Peterson has been in net. And if you look up on any site, they're expected that Calvin Peterson will be in goal. That's because Johnny Quick has a lower body injury. It's day-to-day. It doesn't seem to be a bad injury, but it's hard to know what's really going on. Calvin Peterson, 4-4-4, 2.74 goals against average, 914 save percentage, 0 shutouts. He's a 5th-round draft pick. And he had a great start to the season with no pressure because Johnny Quick was the starter, and it's been pretty easy to outshine Johnny Quick. And what happens when you do? You get another job in the NHL. But now Calvin Peterson's last 3 games have been poor, and he looked very bad on Monday. So I'm hoping that Troy Grosenick gets his first start since 2014-15. He's only had 2 games in the NHL. He's a 31-year-old journeyman, undrafted. He's had 2 very strong seasons in Milwaukee. 29-3 last year, 2.29 goals against average, 920 save percentage, 2 shutouts. And those of you who are around hockey, and especially, around or watch, I should say, because not very many of us get to be around the higher ranks. But in the NHL, when a 31-year-old undrafted journeyman who's played 2 games in the NHL gets a shot between the pipes in the big leagues, the players in the dressing room step up. They try to do whatever is necessary to get this journeyman a win. This might be the last game he ever plays in the NHL. And so I'm hoping that McClellan puts Grosenick in net. Now, of course, that's McClellan's decision to make. But I think it would be the right decision here. Now, if Johnny Quick's good to go, sure, put Johnny Quick back in net. But if Troy Grosenick is in net, I may add to this bet. John Gibson should be between the pipes for the Ducks. He's 6'10" 5, 2.89 goals against average, 900 save percentage, 3 shutouts. He's just simply not the same Johnny Gibson that we remember. And it's not because he's old. It's the team he has in front of him. The Kings played atrocious in their 6-5 overtime loss here on Monday. You can't allow 6 goals to a team that averages 2.31 on the season. Cal Peterson looked bad. He looked bad. He's allowed 13 goals in his last 3 games, all overtime losses. Give Grosenick a chance. The Kings have scored power play goals in 5 straight games. Kopitar has a point in 5 straight games with 2 goals and 7 assists. They can't trust their goaltending. And now Johnny Quick is hurt, and he had a chance to take the reins and run with it. They played sloppy and terrible hockey and lost to a team that is not as good as them. And McClellan is a tough guy. That is not acceptable hockey. And I expect him to get the most out of this team tonight. Play for each other, battle out there, and win this hockey game. They're lucky I'm not in that dressing room. Open hand slapping everybody in the face. And while I point at Troy Grosnick, this could be his only game in the NHL. Are you going to fucking ruin this? Are you going to play like men or little bitches? Open hand slap. Open hand slap. Of course I wouldn't open hand slap Kopitar, Doughty, or Brown. But everybody else. All right. The Ducks played well to get the win on Monday night. Trevor Zegras, the Bedford, New York product, 9th overall pick in 2019 out of Boston University. He's given this team a boost. Now, I know you're probably sitting there saying he's 2 assists in 7 games. But still, the kid physically, just physically looks like Gretzky. 6 feet tall, tiny. What's he weigh? 165 pounds, this kid. He assisted on the overtime winner scored by Adam Henrique. They're going to give this is going to be his hockey team in a couple of years. Adam Henrique scored the overtime winner. He needs to get going. The Windsor Spitfire alum has got to get going. Scored 26 goals last year. He scored 30 goals as a Devil one year. He's got 6 goals and 10 points on the season. Unacceptable. Ricard Raquel had 2 goals and an assist. Listen to this stat. He's the 4th Anaheim player in 10 years to have 3 or more points in consecutive games. What? How shitty is your franchise? Saku Koivu in 2012, Andre Case in 2018, and Troy Terry in 2019? Where's Getzlaf on that list? How's Getzlaf not done that? Have to open hand slap Getzlaf too. Speaking of Troy Terry, upper body injury, defenseman Josh Manson, lower body injury. They were injured during the game. They did not return. This is a weak 4 group in a very weak defensive core that's already missing Hampus Lindholm. You take Manson out of there and Lindholm. I expect the Ducks to lose to the better team. I'm on the Kings -1. And that is dangerous because the Ducks have played 19 of their 26 games. An alarming 73.1% of their games have come down to a single goal. And that was only their 6th win. Their 6 wins, 7 losses, and 6 overtime or shootout losses. The victory over the Kings was Anaheim's 8th straight 1-goal game, which tied the team record. No matter. Kings -1. And that Kings -1 is a +131. The final game on my card is the Montreal Canadiens, 11-6-7, 6-1-6 on the road at the Vancouver Canucks, 12-15-2, 8-6-2 at home at Rogers Arena in Vancouver, BC. As you may guess, and this isn't a homer pick, and I'll explain exactly why I'm doing it, but I'm on the Vancouver Canucks. I'm going back to the well on the side, and you may call this dumb or stubborn or whatever, but I'm going to stay with my -1s. I'm not going to change for the rest of this season. I'm tracking my record, as you all should, very, very closely. And if I have to change, I'm not going to change it with 20 games left in a 56-game COVID season when it's something I've been doing for years. Okay. Carey Price versus Thatcher Demko is what I expect in net. Habs opened up at -155. There's been no movement there. So Canucks at +135. There's been no movement. The total is at 6. And I don't like going back to the well on an under. Not that I was on it, but that clearly happened in that first game between these two teams. But I don't know how we don't. I really don't know how we don't. And so what I'm going to do, instead of taking an under at 6, which I think is a smart move, Thatcher Demko has to be in that. There's no way you could not put Thatcher Demko back in goal after the way he's playing. And I think that the Montreal Canadiens team total under 2.5 will give me a much better line with this total at 6. So I'm going to sleep on that move. But Thatcher Demko is incredible. And I just don't think anybody is dumb enough to go to Braden Holtby after what Thatcher has done. Their jobs are on the line. It has to be Demko in that. So with that being said, I'd like to see – it's going to be a plus line under 2.5 for the Habs. It's going to be a plus line because they're a decent favorite, a strong favorite, and the total is at 6. So what am I getting at? Plus 120? Plus 125? I think I will pull the trigger on that. But I will be on the Canucks -1. Let's break this game down. Carey Price, 7-4-4, 2.69 goals against average, 903 save percentage, 0 shutouts. Thatcher Demko, 8-9-1, 2.75 goals against average, 916 save percentage, 1 shutout. The Habs power play, 22.7%. Penalty killing, 77.5%. The Nucks power play, 19.6%. And the penalty killing, 80.4%. The Habs are snake bit. Now, they've bounced out of that losing streak. They're win-loss right now. But there are issues. Their number one line center hasn't scored a goal all season, 24 games. They have a new coach. They are squeezing their stick tight. Carey Price may have had a breakthrough on Monday night. And what we do is we predict situations. And those of you who know Carey Price well know that he's from Anaheim Lake, a remote fishing village in BC. He comes home, and not that he gets to go up to the fishing village because of COVID and all that stuff, but he gets to come back to his home province, and he breaks out of his slump. His mom, Linda Price, is the chief of the Alcacho First Nation up there. And I'm not surprised. I bet you he comes back to BC, talks to his mom, gets on that ice surface that he knows so well, and shines. So I'm on the Canucks again, and I'm not sitting here thinking that the Canucks are the better hockey team. After picking up Tyler Toffoli and Josh Anderson, and with Elias Pettersson hurt, the Montreal Canadiens are a better team than the Vancouver Canucks. But the Canucks feel good about themselves for the first time all season. They're getting exceptional goaltending from Thatcher Demko. They win the battle of the face-off circle. And they only won, I believe, 33-24 on Monday, but they win it. They continue to win it. And time of possession, especially in the offensive zone, leads to goals and scoring chances. The Canucks have won 3 straight, 4 of 5, and this is the same situation that Edmonton finds himself in. The second last home game of an extended homestand. I love this spot. Travis Green, Jim Benning are very close to getting fired. The team is under a ton of pressure, and they're failing. Did you see the smiles on the bench when Gaudette tied up the game with 40 seconds left? Sniped that shot. Glove hand side on Price over the bar. Or was it? No. Blocker, I believe. Blocker. But just sniped it. It was gorgeous. And the smiles on the bench, I haven't seen them smile like that all season long, because they've been playing under immense pressure and failing. I'm going with the score here. Canucks -1. Those of you who want to take them plus 135, I get it. And I've had a lot of people telling me that taking these dogs on the -1 line doesn't make sense. The plus 135 or whatever it is enough. Look, I like big scores. I stopped playing parlays, a few years back, and I don't get an opportunity at big scores. And this is like sort of the last bastion of big scores for me. And I like them. And I'm tracking everything very closely. And if it does cost me double-digit units by the end of the season, look, I won't do it next year. But this is a short season, and I'm not going to abandon ship just because I'm on a bad run with it. All right, and I haven't bet it yet. It's not available. The alternative puck line's not available. I could get them at plus 135 right now. But look, I'm not abandoning ship on these giant scores. And all right, I'm stressed. I'm angry. I've lost money this week, and I shouldn't have. Well, I'm doing lousy in basketball right now, so that's valid for losing there. But on the ice, I should not have lost money this week. My capping is sound. I'm going to get myself out of this. I'm going to win. I couldn't believe it when I looked at my numbers and was only down 3 units on Monday and Tuesday because it feels like I'm down 10 and I feel like I'm going to smash something. But decide, let's do a show. Focus your energy and get that motherfucking cash, son. All right. Oilers -1.5 at plus 110. The under 6.5 in Ottawa, Edmonton. The Kings -1 at plus 131. And I will be on the Canucks -1. All right, baby. Let's fucking go, man. Let's go. Thank you for your support. It means the world to us. It means the world to me because I get to do NHL. And the more views, more eyes on it, the more I can put time into NHL. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you guys for watching. And let's get paid in full, son.